A hearty welcome everybody to another episode of Raw and Real. Today we have with us Mr. Anuj Swaroop, Second Secretary who is handling politics, education and information at Embassy of India in Oman. Along with him we have Dr. Preeti Swaroop, who is a medico but turned into management profession. She is an international speaker, HR specialist and used to do many speeches internationally in various subjects.
Mr. Anuj Swaroop was born in Delhi and has been raised by their parents with high values who inculcated sense of responsible citizenship by his parents. Mr. Anuj pursued Bachelor of Technology in Electronics and Communications from the reputed JSS Academy of Technology, Noida. After passing out with flying colors in engineering, Mr. Anuj got selected for India's major power producer and a Forbes 2000 company, NTPC Limited. He has a successful professional career of close to 10 years in power sector at this organization. He has been qualified for the Indian Foreign Service in 2016. In 2011, he got married to Dr. Preeti and has been the source of constant support and guidance at each step of his life. Mr. Anuj's civil service life starts after an initial foundation course at the Lal Bahadur Shastri National Academy of Administration, Mussoorie, and an elaborate training in foreign policy at Sushma Swaraj Institute of Foreign Service. Mr. Anuj was posted at Abu Dhabi, UAE for an extensive language training and hands-on work experience. Presently, Mr. Anuj Swaroop is posted as Second Secretary Political Education and Information at the Embassy of India, Muscat, Oman. Mr. Anuj's motto in life is keep walking forward.
Welcome Mr. Anuj and Dr. Preeti to this new episode of Raw and Real.
Thank you, Dr. Rashmi, for having us.
Good morning, Dr. Rashmi. Thank you so much for having us. I know both of you are very well-known personalities in Oman. I also have heard a lot about you. But through this episode, I hope that we can come to know more about your personalities. If you want to convey some messages to the public, that is the intention of this episode. Can you please share with us your life journey, that I mean starting from schooling, the education and of course family and till now your professional position?
Basically, my parents, they come from northern India and I have lived most of my life in Delhi and I have done my schooling from Gurgaon in Delhi. And the one thing that my parents always made sure was to really focus on our education. I have a younger brother also, and I think that is what has really helped me in achieving whatever I have been able to by the grace of God. After my schooling, I pursued engineering. I am an electronics and communication engineer, which I did from JSS Academy of Technical Education, Noida. And after that, I joined India's largest power producer, NTPC Limited. In fact, she is still working there. She is still with NTPC Limited. But while doing, while working there, I always wanted to, pursue higher education, because my father always used to say that it's important, you are still young and you still have time. So it's better that you can still pursue and study more. So that is how I was preparing for my higher education, and I made a conscious decision to pursue MBA management, and I was able to secure admission in FMS Delhi, which is one of the top 5 MBA institutes in India. And after that, yes, we got engaged when I was pursuing my MBA. We got engaged in 2010 while I was still in my second year of management, and after that, yes, in 11 we got married. We decided, that I got placed in a good company. It was PwC in consulting, where I always wanted to go. But then we took a conscious decision that it will be better if I again join that NTPC Limited. And then with the support of my family, my parents, her support, as well as our son, who we were blessed, in 2012. I started preparing for the civil services, and I was able to crack it, and I joined the Indian Foreign Services 2000. Thank you.
So you joined in Indian Foreign Service in which year?
I joined in 2016.
16.
Yes.
And this is your first posting?
You can say that, but before coming to Oman, I was posted in Abu Dhabi. Actually, I joined after joining the Indian Foreign Service for almost a year. There was a training. So the initial 3 months course, that is called the foundation course, the whole batch went to Labasna, Mussoorie, where we do training with officers from other services as well. And then after that we come to Delhi, because for IFS the training institute is in Delhi. That is the Sushma Swaraj Institute of Foreign Service. And then we do the training is essentially a mix of classroom trainings, attachments, Bharat Darshan. I recall she accompanied me to Bharat Darshan, which was itself a good experience and good.
It's a month-long exposure to across the parts of India.
We really learned a lot during that phase. And after the classroom training, then for IFS, you learn a language that is called the compulsory foreign language, for which I got the Arabic language as my CFL. And we were posted in Delhi, in Abu Dhabi for the CFL training. So that was the first posting, and after that I was posted in Oman. So we came to Oman in June 2019, and it has almost been 2 years now, and it has been a good exposure. I have learned a lot under the leadership of my seniors, Ambassador Sir, DCM Sir, and all my seniors and colleagues in the embassy. So overall, it has been a satisfying and good experience.
Dr. Preeti, you are a dynamic personality, I know that. And I heard that you have different degrees in different domains also. It's an interesting thing, isn't it? So can you please tell your life journey also, starting from childhood, and how was your journey, all these things?
Thank you so much, Dr. Rashmi. Basically, yes, my roots also belong from Delhi only, where many years back my parents had moved and settled down for their work. So my childhood and my schooling, my entire schooling has been done from Delhi itself, starting from a basic government college and then graduating from my higher classes from a reputed convent school in Delhi. And then apart from my parents, I have always idolized my elder brother, and with sound guidance and support from them earlier in my life, I was able to pursue dental sciences from the Premier Institute of Delhi, in fact India, top 5 colleges of India, the medical colleges. And then I was able to secure this degree in dentistry. But yes, after some time, probably I realized sometime down the line that I am more of a people's person, and with that something in the back of my mind, and with certain interests also, I wanted to I somehow realized that I needed to broaden and diversify my connecting platform, which I would call. So this connecting platform, I did not want it to be restricted to the hospitals only, and so backed up with certain life experiences, yes, and again with the guidance from my parents and the family members, I pursued this full-time degree in management. So there again, with a good faculty backup and guidance and support from the college and the university, I was able to do well with the management thing, and I secured a rank with the NTPC Limited organization, which Anuj also mentioned that it's the topmost power producer of the country. So I was able to secure a rank with this organization, and I'm currently working there in the middle management position presently. But yes, because of the virtue of my husband having this kind of a service, the foreign service to be precise, I have taken a sabbatical from my regular work. Just to call it 9 to 5 job, I've taken a break from that. And middle of all this, yes, a decade back we got married and we have a son. And just because of this, one my basics being, I want to be there with my family and in whatever I do. So I wanted to be with him and be with my family, and that's the reason I took this sabbatical and came to a foreign land. And yes, even if I am not doing a 9-to-5 job, I somehow, by the grace of God, I was able to pursue other interests and passions of mine, and with the support of, great support of my in-laws and my spouse, I was able to, I am currently able to explore a lot of new ventures. So I'm basically right now into more of writing, more of public speaking assignments, and yes, I've been taking coaching and training sessions for colleges and institutions in India as well as abroad. And yes, much more. There are a few interests and passions more which I'm pursuing right now. So that's the story so far, and I'm looking forward to just add to it every day, new thing. That's it.
It's interesting.
Interesting, this one good example is this wall.
Yeah.
So all these paintings are hers, different paintings, different genre. So you can imagine,
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yes. And she mentioned foreign land, but I must say that wherever we have been in Abu Dhabi or in Oman,
Yes.
people and our fellow Indian nationals have been really kind, and it has never we have felt that we are in a foreign land. It feels within
It feels home.
few days it starts feeling like home.
Yes.
That is something
True.
that is something which is unique, or I should say that all humanity is all about.
And that's the best part of the foreign services as of now. If I have to say, we are enjoying this part to the core. Yes.
And he's an encouraging husband always.
Obviously, I've come this far because as I said that, see, till the time you get married, there's a support of your parents and family members. That's always there. That, you cannot beat that. But after a lady gets married and she goes to a strange house and a new setup and a new environment and a new ecosystem, there the support of the in-laws and the spouse, both of these things are very, very crucial. Yes, and in my case, I'm really, I have deep gratitude to the entire family from my in-laws side and as well as my spouse, that they have had that faith and support and guidance to me throughout in whatever I wish to do and whatever we wish to do. We've been able to pursue, actually speaking with, after married life, having a baby in your lap, you're able to pursue your dreams. He was able to crack this exam, which is a difficult examination in India till date also. So we were able to do it probably because of the blessings of our elders and the people who are with us throughout in our journey. So yes, that's really helpful. That's very important. So we're blessed that way.
Dr. Preeti, you are an international speaker, and I know that you have given many speeches, especially in women's problems. So, what is your perspective about women empowerment?
Thank you, Dr. Rashmi. See, women empowerment is all about making equal choices, being given equal choices. But when a woman is being given equal choices and the freedom and the liberty to carry out everything in her best of the capacity to uplift other women as well, that's what true women empowerment for me is. So, it gives me a real, immense pleasure and, pride in saying that when I see women across the world occupying senior leadership positions, not just one part of the world, many parts across the world, we see many senior position, which has been occupied by ladies and women. So, and not just the higher up positions. When I see women taking up a job at a grocery counter or a cash counter, managing the cash, managing the store, managing the outlets, managing the logistics, and academically, we've seen professionals women professionals doing exceptionally well. So that really reflects a lot of women empowerment. And I remember that there's a very famous speech by a great leader which says that nations progress when their individuals contribute together. So here I feel that I think this individual term is being referred to both the genders, because eventually half the sky belongs to women. That's what I feel.
That's so interesting. Yeah. Actually, this is the best definition I have heard about the women empowerment.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Can you mention some of the remarkable achievements throughout your career?
Well, Dr. Rashmi, it's been a long journey and it's been a very adventurous journey to me because I've done a lot of things which are quite unrelated to each other, as you're aware. But yes, because I mentioned earlier also that my parents have always given this guidance of having a very strong foundation, and a strong foundation can be achieved only through sound education. A good education is a very important ingredient to having a strong foundation later on in life. And then like I believe in the importance of everyday learning. So in the early days of my life only I could probably understand this value quite early in my life, and then by the grace of God and again from the help and support and guidance from my family members earlier, I was able to secure a university gold medal when I was pursuing my MBA. And then with some efforts, I was able to crack this examination for the current organization I am in. And there also there is a 1-year training period which we call the executive traineeship. There also thankfully I was the silver medalist of my batch, and then I later on moved on to pursuing a diploma in training and development from a esteemed organization in India which is called Indian Society for Training and Development. There also I was able to manage being the batch topper and the overall gold medalist for the batch. Yes, just to add to it, in the first attempt itself, with a 2-month-old baby in my lap, I was able to crack this examination of UGC NET and JRF, which we are all aware of. And after that, there have been a couple of additions to it. My organization was kind enough to nominate me for a very prestigious course by Harvard Management, which I could pursue and completed successfully by the grace of God and everyone. And right now, with my own personal area of interest and something close to my heart, which is called Organization Change Management, I'm pursuing a PhD in it. And I am pursuing a PhD from a university in Delhi NCR area, and that I'm able to pursue. I'm some way through it, and with some hiccups and successes here and there, I'm able to manage it. And a very big factor in it is my child. Shara, can you come here, beta?
So he's the motivation, or
yeah, he is my motivation also, and he is my support system also, because he's the one who sees me working towards, inching towards my goal, and he's been a very big support always. Thank you so much. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
He's in which class?
He's in class 4.
What's your name?
Sharia.
Which school?
ISDI.
Indian School Algubra.
Yes.
ISDI International.
Yeah, international.
Yeah, okay. I thought I is the division. Okay.
No. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. If you want to go, you can go. Yeah, so that's from my side. Thank you.
I have known you because of your initiatives you have taken, especially in the higher education domain in Oman. Can you highlight some of the steps you have taken for that? Actually, that was a wonderful initiative, and a lot of things happened actually after that initiatives. So, can you please highlight some of the steps you have taken for?
Thank you, Dr. Rashmi. The embassy has been trying to enhance the cooperation between both the countries in various fields, and many of us will agree that India is a global education hub, especially for technical education, IT, and historically also I recall reading that many of our Omani friends, they used to travel to India to study. So yes, that cooperation was always there. So that is how higher education remains one of the focus areas, and yes, we are trying to work out or work towards opportunity for maybe joint research and establishment of India study chairs in universities in Oman. We have been trying, and let's hope that in near future there is some positive movement. on these areas.
So Indo-Arab project, research project, collaboration.
Yes, it's there that we have shared the required information with all the with the support of Oman's government. We have shared the required information with all the higher education institutes in Oman, and hopefully things will move in the future.
What advices or suggestions you can give to our younger generations, especially who wish to come to civil service?
I can just share my experiences or my learnings of my own journey of preparing for the civil services exam. It's just that one has to be really focused, and this the exam has evolved. It's always the pattern, and first thing is that students or anyone who's wanting to appear for the exam should focus on the syllabus. And then, as per their own situation, they need to work out a plan of following that syllabus. One thing that I always, suggest is that it is important to give a lot of mock exams for preliminary examination or even for the mains examination, because that is how you will understand that where you stand and if your preparation is going in the right direction or not. A second thing which I feel is most important is that it's really important to focus a lot on the first stage of the exam. That is it's a three-stage examination. Preliminary examination, then there is mains examination, and followed by the personality test. So the first step is where almost 1 million people apply, and then half a million people appear for the preliminary examination. It is at this step that majority of them are not able to appear the cutoff. So it's really important to because then it's only next year that you will be again able to appear for this examination. So it's really important to focus on the preliminary examination also. So these have been my learnings, and I think people, anyone who is an aspirant can just follow if they find it useful.
Thank you, Mr. Anuj and Dr. Preeti, for spending this much of time. Actually, I know that your busy schedule and all, but thanks again for spending this much of time with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rashmi. The pleasure was entirely ours, and we had a good, enriching conversation through this mode. Thank you for the gesture. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Rashmi.